Everyone is guilty of making split-second decisions they later come to regret. It's simply human nature. When two choices present themselves, or when you're in a stressful situation, you can make mistakes that have lasting ramifications. Scandal is nothing new in Hollywood, but if you're an actor and your private transgressions happen to go public, you better be prepared to look for a new line of work. While some disgraced stars manage to claw their way back into the limelight from seemingly impossible positions, for most, retiring from the public eye, with whatever dignity remains intact, is the only option. Here are 7 celebrities who chose wrong, messed up, or who gave in to their most undignified and base instincts, and blew up their careers in the process. But before that, welcome back to your channel, Most Amazing Top 7, where you'll get a supreme treasury of videos with an insight. So, without any further delay, let's get started. Alex Peiffer. With only a few credits to his name, Alex Peiffer looked to be one of the breakout stars of 2011, thanks in large part to his starring role in Magic Mike, one of the most talked about movies of the year that also received critical praise and earned $113 million at the American box office. Just before the release of Peiffer's I Am Number 4, The Hollywood Reporter ran an expose alleging the actor's misbehavior on the set of that film in the wake of a salary standoff, and on another upcoming film, Beastly. Rather than do much damage control, Peiffer doubled down on the animosity. In an interview with V-Man, the actor called Los Angeles an a-hole and an insidious pool where nearly everyone lives in fear. Of his profession, he likened acting to a prison sentence. You go, you serve your time, you try to replicate Johnny Depp's career, and then you move to Paris, Peiffer quipped. The actor later told the Mercury News that the interview may have led to a rift with his Magic Mike co-star Channing Tatum. At any rate, Peiffer wasn't invited back for Magic Mike XXL, and he's appeared in supporting roles and in relatively obscure fare ever since. Megan Fox. Playing Michaela Bynes in 2007's Transformers made Megan Fox a star. Within a couple of years, she made the sequel Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, the comedy How to Lose Friends and Alienate People, and the cult horror comedy Jennifer's Body. That year, 2009, was also when Fox sat for an interview with the UK magazine Wonderland. When asked a softball question about working with Transformers director Michael Bay, Fox answered honestly and provocatively. He's like Napoleon, and he wants to create this insane, infamous madman reputation, Fox said, comparing her director to a man who tried to conquer Europe 2 centuries earlier, and then to another, even more notorious historical figure. He wants to be like Hitler on his sets, and he is. Despite comparing him to the mastermind of World War II and the Holocaust that took the lives of millions of Jewish people, Bay still hired Fox for Transformers: Dark of the Moon, but, according to The Guardian, was reportedly overruled by producer Steven Spielberg, director of Schindler's List and founder of the survivors of the show Visual History Foundation, a Holocaust awareness organization. Foxy's team denied reports to People that she'd been ousted and rather stated she left the project of her own volition, but the career damage was done. Fox appeared in a couple of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, some flop indie movies, a few episodes of New Girl, and a music video for her fiancé, Machine Gun Kelly. In an interview with The Washington Post, Fox said she retreated from Hollywood to escape the misogyny and find her purpose. Jamie Kennedy. After Scream and The Prank Show, The Jamie Kennedy Experiment, Jamie Kennedy's prospects faltered, and he took on roles in flops like Son of the Mask and started playing white rappers in stuff like Malibu's Most Wanted because a white person pretending to be a grossly stereotypical African-American urban youth is apparently hilarious. By 2012, Kennedy was at the point where he had to host a Los Angeles-only New Year's Eve special broadcast on the local CW affiliate. First Night 2013 produced some live television magic. In other words, it was a disaster. As the AV Club details in Kennedy's opening monologue, he made an off-color joke about Psy of Gangnam Style fame. Now, when you hear the word Asian rapper, you won't just think of a little plastic bag that holds your fortune cookie. Technical gaffes marred the production, as did product placements for Carl's Jr. and a local casino. For the latter, Kennedy appeared in a comedy sketch dressed up like a Native American chief. Later on, Kennedy interviewed an African-American woman on the street and coined a crude, white version of the saying, once you go black, you never go back. The whole point of a New Year's show is the countdown, which Kennedy somehow bungled, unable to locate a clock at midnight and missing the moment by 10 seconds. Amanda Bynes. Once upon a time, Amanda Bynes was a rising star. But that was a long time ago. The star of The Amanda Show, and She's the Man, ran afoul of drugs and alcohol like many child stars before her. But what truly killed her career was her complete and total Twitter meltdown in the weeks after her arrest. It was like a teenager getting fired from McDonald's for tweeting how much they hated working there, only so much worse. Her 2012 tweet storm, as compiled by Online, included such claims as how much she wanted rapper Drake to murder her vagina, a suggestion Drake wisely passed on. She also tweeted Rihanna, taunting that Chris Brown beat you because you're not pretty enough. She called Miley Cyrus and Jay-Z ugly and berated herself for being the same. Away from Twitter, she apparently set a driveway and her own pants on fire. All this resulted in her being diagnosed with bipolar disorder and twice placed in a psychiatric facility, and her career being placed on ice. Years later, a seemingly reformed Bynes is still trying to regroup and regain her life. She went to Los Angeles Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising to learn about clothing lines and claimed she had no real interest in acting. Considering what acting had already done to her, that was probably a wise choice. In June 2017, that wisdom went out the window when she stated she was ready to come back. But, according to People, as of summer 2021, she's been laying low at the beach, finishing up her degree, and apparently dabbling in rap music. Mark Salling. Mark Salling became a big deal thanks to his turn as Glee's Noah Puckerman. But in December 2015, Salling was arrested in Los Angeles on charges that he had possessed and distributed child explicit material. According to an official statement from investigators, they found a laptop, USB drive, and hard drive filled with thousands of pictures and videos of child explicit content, and the ages of the children were believed to range from 5 to 12. You can see why his planned post-Glee project, the miniseries Adi Shankar's Gods and Secrets, dropped him without a second thought. As the show said in a statement, the innocence of our planet's children is something that must be protected at all costs, even if it means moving on without the jock from Glee. Salling eventually agreed to a plea deal with prosecutors, reports USA Today, but before sentencing, he hanged himself in a canyon near Los Angeles and was found dead on January 30, 2018. Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser is one of those names that is almost always followed by a question, like why doesn't Hollywood cast him anymore? The American-Canadian graduated from a character actor to a bona fide movie star when he appeared as the swashbuckling Rick O'Connell in The Mummy, the first film in a trilogy that has come to define him. That franchise came to an unspectacular end in 2008, though Fraser struck gold when another of his films, released that year, became an unexpected hit. The 3D fantasy adventure Journey to the Center of the Earth returned a worldwide box office total of $242 million from a budget of $60 million, reaffirming Fraser's position as a genuine leading man and presenting him with a chance to establish the character's longevity in further films. This is the point at which Fraser took a wrong turn that would eventually derail his career completely, a decision that he likely regrets to this day. In a monumental error of judgment, Fraser turned down the chance to reprise his role in Journey to the Mysterious Island, content with the work he had done in Extraordinary Measures and Furry Vengeance. Fraser felt comfortable letting the role go to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, though when those two films became two of the biggest box office bombs of 2010, it became clear that he had made a huge mistake. Journey 2 went on to surpass the original, raking in an eye-watering $335 million. In 2018, a comeback labeled by cultured vultures as the Renaissance began, with Fraser having landed roles on prestige TV series The Affair and Trust in short order. While promoting the latter, Fraser's relative disappearance and reemergence was the subject of a long profile for GQ, in which he explained that his career had been on a downswing because of a combination of retreat and professional retaliation by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, the organization that awards the Golden Globes. Fraser alleged that he'd been assaulted by HFPA President Philip Burke. In the 2020s, Fraser's career is looking up, with a role as Firefly in the DC Comics movie Batgirl, along with parts in big movies by some of Hollywood's most acclaimed directors, including The Whale for Darren Aronofsky and Killers of the Flower Moon for Martin Scorsese. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes was a big star with roles in White Men Can't Jump, To One Fu Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, and the Blade trilogy. He was doing pretty great. Then Snipes decided to not pay his taxes. Now it's obvious that not paying your taxes is bad, but what's the worst that could happen? You pay it back plus some fines, and maybe have to make Demolition Man 2 to get some cash. Nope. Snipes' tax offenses were bad enough that he went to jail, reports the New York Times. Snipes was found guilty of willfully not filing taxes for 3 years, and got a year in the slammer for each year he failed to make a trip to H&R Block. Plus, he had to pay back $17 million in taxes and penalties. Since it's pretty hard to make a Blade sequel from jail, his tax evasion put a complete stop on his career. Let that be a lesson to all you movie stars out there. If you want a career, don't try to get tricky with the tax man. With scandals receding from the collective memory and a groundswell of nostalgia for his iconic roles in 90s movies, particularly as a vampire-hunting vampire in Blade, Snipes is slowly staging a comeback in the 2020s. He recently starred alongside Kevin Hart in Netflix's True Story, came out as a vampiric version of himself on What We Do in the Shadows, and stole all of his scenes in the long-awaited 80s sequel, Coming to America, as the unsettlingly friendly General Izzy. So, that is all we have for you today. Consider subscribing to the most amazing Top 7 for more amazing videos. Peace out.